Before this video does start, I do want to say that I'll be giving out a game pass of your choice to 5 different people. To enter, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, join my Discord, and type in your username in the comment section down below. I'll also be giving out a bunch of items throughout this whole re-release because you guys know they wiped your bank, so basically nobody has any items. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into the video. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm Bubba. Inside of this video, I do have the ultimate starter guide for types. So this is going to be going over every single race, what to do, in what order of to do things, and just general knowledge that you need to know on the game. If you guys haven't been enjoying it, like, subscribe, do all that, and yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So the most important thing, in my opinion, is obviously going to be KT. This is where every single race will be. This is where most of the games go, and this is kind of just where the most of the stuff actually is. So if you press the comma button on your keyboard, you can see basically all the NPCs and everything like that. So the first thing that I'm going to go over is going to be just kind of all the NPCs. So first we have Cetro. This is where you do title progression. Nano, he is basically there to change your haircut. Nail over there is where you store your items. T-Stay is where you do boss raid things, which kind of are useless now, but that is where you will obtain accessories. And then they have the trader, and that's where you trade. And then this V person, that V person over there is where you are going to check your mode progression, which I'll get into a little bit more later. And then in this little garage right here is where you join clans, and that's kind of all that you guys really need to know. But as far as progression goes, I'll go over a vague progression line for every single race. It is obviously a little bit different because every single race does have a different like way to get their sub mode, a different way to get their full mode, and things like that. But basically, essentially, when you load in, for every single race, you're going to have to prod until you are grade 2. When you are grade 2, you can finally actually get your abilities, whether if it's Shikai, your full brain, your shrift, or your partial res. That is where you'll actually do that, is at grade 2, and then obviously you guys can search up how to get shrift or how to get this. I probably have a few videos on it, and I'll be dropping full guides for every single race as well, going into more detail of every race. But after you get your sub mode or your partial mode, that is when you can finally go and progress all the way to elite grade. When you do end up hitting elite grade, that is when you kind of get full access to the game, right? That is when you start working on your build, start farming accessories, start farming items, and kind of just doing most of the general stuff inside of the game. And that is when you kind of actually start having fun in the game, is when you're done with your progression. So right when you're done with your progression, you're going to have to decide on what build you want to go. There's a lot of different builds that you can run. You can go air Hakuda, ground Hakuda, you can go Kendo, Keto, Medic, Speed. You can go a hybrid build of Hakuda and Speed, a Kendo and Speed build, a Keto and Speed build. Like, there's so many different builds that you can end up running. You're kind of going to have to figure it out yourself, or watch a bunch of YouTube videos and just find out which type of playstyle you personally enjoy. And then you have to figure out what Shikai you want. You're going to have to spin, and they made it pretty hard to actually get Shikai rerolls inside of this re-release. So then you're probably going to have to go into Ranked, which Ranked is currently closed at the current moment, but Ranked is where you will be able to receive a lot of things. Like, this is where you'll receive Hog Frags, which is very important because that is how you get your sub mode, like Let's for Twinsies, as well as Visored for Storypers, and then you also need to get a true Hog Frag, which also drops from Ranked. And there's just a lot of things that you can get from Ranked. But basically, the borderline progression is you load in, you prod till you are grade 2. When you are grade 2, you get your mini mode. Then you prod till elite grade. Then after that, you decide what build you're going to run. When you are done deciding what build you're going to run, I would probably run to T-Stay, and that is where you will farm bosses with your friends, and that is where you will farm accessories. After you get your accessories, you should be good enough to go into Ranked, and then that is where you will farm for your Hog Frags and your true Hog Frags, so you can actually get your modes, because that is where you will get your partial modes, like I said, Visored, Let's, your Vastocar variants, and basically everything like that does come from Hog Frags. So you'll need Hog Frags and a true Hog Frag. Now, once when you have that, you can finally worry about getting Bontai. And like I said, this V person over here is the first step for every single race of getting Bontai. And luckily for you guys already played Ranked to get your Hog Frag, so you already did this step. The very first step for any Bontai or anything like that is to do around 20 Ranked games and win them. And that will actually get you progression for your like stage 1 of your Bontai and things like that. So as long as you play Ranked, when you are done getting all your accessories, you will basically not have to worry about this whole step because you already have it completed. And then you just search up a video, how to get Bonkai, and you follow the second stage and then the third stage. They're different per race, so that's why I kind of can't clarify that. And then once when you get your Bonkai, you guys are finally ready to play through the new content, which is going to be Hellverse, which is right over here. You go right over here, and this is where you can enter Hellverse. You're probably going to want to wait for one of the testers or someone like that to drop their Hellverse guide, because at the current moment, nobody really knows as far as what there is to Hellverse. Like, there's a lot that Hellverse has. That is where you can get your Ancient Vasto if you're a Vasto car. That is where you can get Devil Trigger. There's just a lot of stuff that actually is in Hellverse, so that's why you're kind of going to want that. But yeah, Hellverse is going to be the next most important thing inside of your progression. Whenever people figure out what to do, I'll probably be dropping my own Hellverse guide, but nobody really knows what to do at the current moment. But Hellverse is where you'll get new accessories, new weapons. Basically, your build just goes from Endgame to an even further version of Endgame, and your build will just get stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, once when you are done with progression, I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, what does the endgame look like? And I'm not going to lie, the endgame for this game is basically Hellverse, and then once when you are done with Hellverse, you have your build maxed out, whatever, you can choose to play as a new race, or you can play with your friends and do PvP type things. You can do Soul Wars, you can do cooling games, you can do ranked, you can do clan wars. There's a lot of different things that you guys can do inside of this game. But as far as the vast majority of the end game, it is going to be basically you doing Hellverse missions, because the Hellverse missions are supposedly supposed to take like 2 weeks or just a crazy long amount of time. And once when you're done with that, basically all you have to do in this game is PvP on repeat. The most appealing part of this game is going to be the PvP, and that's basically why every single person does play it. But yeah, at the current moment, there's just a lot of unknowns as far as progression goes. So I probably will end up dropping an updated video maybe in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. Because at the current moment, basically, it's kind of parallel until you actually get to the point where you get your Bonkai. And then once you get your Bonkai is where all the new content starts to come in, and nobody really knows what to do, like the best way or anything like that. So once when there's some Hellverse guides and things like that, I will have an updated video on this same topic. But basically, when you load in, right, you pick your race, whatever race you want to go, boom, you pick it, you grind until you are grade 2. When you are grade 2, you will get your partial ability, whether if it's full bring, partial res, Shikai, whatever, and then you're going to grind until you're elite grade. And then you are going to want to probably get some friends, go to Keystay, do boss raids, and get your accessories. Once when you have a full thing of accessories, that is when you're going to want to go to ranked, and that is how you're going to get your hog frags, as well as your true hog frag. And then you're going to have your sub mode, or your Vastacar variant, or whatever. And then you guys are ready to go fight your Bonkai. Once when you get your Bonkai, you guys are ready for Hellverse. And Hellverse, bro, Hellverse, as far as what I've heard from testers and things like that, to actually finish all the quests, get your true Bonkai and everything like that for Hellverse, it's probably going to take like a month. So that's a lot of content right there. And then once when you're done with that, your build is fully done. You have the new accessories. You've crafted all your artifacts and everything like that that is actually obtainable from Hellverse. Then you guys are ready to basically PvP, right? That's basically the borderline progression for the game. If you guys need any more extra help, you guys can feel free to leave some comments down below. But that's basically the most simple way to explain progression inside of this game. I will be dropping videos for every single race, doing an actual progression guide for each one. So if you guys want to figure out, like if you want to be Story Pert and you want to figure out how to get Shikai, how to get Bonkai, how to get Visor, and all that, I'll be going into way more details on each one. Those should be coming out within the next week or so. So yeah, but that's basically the borderline progression for this game. You load in, you prod, you get your stuff, you go to hell, and then you PvP. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a very simple game when you actually get down to it, and it's mainly PvP focused. But yeah, that's it for me. If you guys ended up enjoying the video, like, subscribe, do all that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.